So, this video is going to be a little bit more straightforward than the other ones, mostly because we actually have ourselves tangible ideas that are listed out in a written format that we could just go out there and read, you know? This is a good, chill time to just talk about some trade rumors, talk about guys that could be on the move, and discuss what teams they could go to. So, our first source is coming to us from Elliotte Friedman, because on the earlier edition of Hockey Night in Canada, the Saturday headlines, we had ourselves some updates as to the goaltending situation around the NHL. Now, I'm going to leave a link in the description to the video segment that is indeed on the Sportsnet website. It is the Saturday headlines based on current information, Bill Guerin to remain wild GM video. It is from yesterday, and the link is in the description for you to watch. But because this is a video and not an article, we're going to go over onto Spectre's Hockey from earlier this morning, because what Lyle Richardson does is he writes about what Friedman says, he transcribes it, it's easy for me to screenshot, put it on the screen. Big shout-outs over to Friedman as well as Richardson on Spectre's. Links are in the description to both the video and the article. So, here is Friedman's latest update on trade speculation regarding goaltenders. He said the goalie market is starting to heat up. He noted the Carolina Hurricanes placed Antti Raanta on waivers on Saturday, so they're definitely looking around. Now, just a quick aside about the entire Antti Raanta situation in Carolina. We did make a video about this yesterday. We talked about how weird it was that the Carolina Hurricanes sent one of their only remaining goaltenders in the system on waivers. If you needed the update, the Hurricanes actually ended up calling up their ECHL guy, so that's going to be really intriguing to see where that goes. Antti Raanta was reassigned to the AHL earlier today as well. So what that indicates to all of us is that the Carolina Hurricanes could indeed be one of these teams that are involved in the goaltending market looking for netminders, and that should not be a surprise. Their goaltending has sucked this year. We've talked about this. Freddie Anderson isn't available. Kyotkachov has not been good. Raanta hasn't been good. One of them just got sent down to the AHL. They called up an ECHL guy. It is all over the place here for Carolina, which is why they could be in the market. Spectre's note goes out there and says that Pierre LeBrun said the same thing yesterday, though he claims that nothing appears imminent at the moment. Friedman also goes out there and talks about the LA Kings, and how their goaltender, Phoenix Copley, underwent an MRI after leaving practice with an injury on Friday. It's believed he'll be sidelined for a bit of time, so the Kings might be looking for a backup for Cam Talbot. So there you go, yet another team that could be in the mix for the goaltending market. The LA Kings have been a powerhouse this season. I don't know if anybody really expected them to be as good as they have been, but everything from their efficiency up front to their defensive coverage, Cam Talbot has been awesome this year, and I want to say that part of that has to do with the fact that the Kings' defense in front of him is just making his life so much easier. Of course, I'm not going to disrespect Cam Talbot and the body of work he has had. It's just this team in front of him is definitely giving him a lot easier of a time than the Ottawa Senators were last year, for example. Big upgrade there in terms of the quality of play in front. But with this in mind, the LA Kings could be looking for a backup goaltender after Phoenix Copley ended up leaving, so if there is an extra opportunity for somebody to get brought in, then we'll see where that goes. Right now, the Kings have recalled David Rittich from their AHL affiliate. They'll likely see if he can fill the gap until Copley can return. Friedman also provided an update on the Edmonton Oilers, noting that recent call-up Cal Pickard has been playing really well. While they've been taking a look at things, he's not convinced they're going to make a trade for a goalie. That seems to be the case following their recent surge up the standings. There was talk of Jack Campbell returning from their AHL affiliate at some point, but for now, they appear content to stick with the tandem of Pickard and Skinner. So for Edmonton, things are interesting because their goaltending has improved significantly ever since Jack Campbell got sent down and Cal Pickard came up. Pretty much both of the goalies on the main roster have started to win games, they've started to make saves, and right now there isn't really a need to make a trade. Of course, though, hockey is very momentum-based, so if there is another slump or two, or the Oilers get off to another bad start of the month, then we'll see where exactly they go from there. Jack Campbell isn't doing them any favors with his $5 million AAV cap hit, but for now, Cal Pickard and Stuart Skinner are getting the job done. The question remains, though, Are these the guys that can go out there and help you win a Stanley Cup? When all is said and done, you guys make the playoffs, maybe you squeak in as a wild card, maybe best case scenario, you find yourselves in the top 3 spot in the Pacific, you knock out, I don't know, Vancouver or something. Then what happens? Is Cal Pickard and Stuart Skinner the tandem to get you to the second round and beyond? I know last year things sort of had that momentum feeling to it, but you ended up having to pull Skinner and play Campbell, and he actually was pretty good in that situation. So we'll see where exactly the Oilers go. For right now, though, things are okay. Turning to trade candidates, Friedman talks about the Montreal Canadiens and how they have an extra goalie. Spector's note says that Friedman didn't say which one could be traded, but it likely comes down to Allen or Primo. The Habs recently signed Sam Montembeault to a 3-year extension as he's taking over the starting job in Montreal. Friedman also noted the Columbus Blue Jackets having Spencer Martin, and that is a candidate that I think is very near and dear to my heart. Yeah, Spencer Martin, former Vancouver Canuck, he was a good one here. Definitely not the best, but he still had his moments, so I think a lot of Canucks fans would look back on Spencer Martin's time with smiles. But either way, he's a guy that could be tossed in there, depending on the health status of a lot of the other Blue Jackets goaltenders. They needed a guy to come in once Tarasov was out, which is kind of why they got Spencer Martin in the first place. But either way, these are some of the guys that are tossed out there. Also, in this same Spector's Hockey article, there is a link to a piece on the Hockey News, wherein Christian Larson listed the Canadiens' Jake Allen, James Reimer, Kaapo Kähkönen from the Sharks, and Arizona Coyotes goaltender Karel Vejmelka as to how each of these guys could help playoff contenders in the new year. So, this is kind of our update, just talking about different teams that are in the mix that could be sneaking around there. The LA Kings have themselves an open spot, but it's unlikely that they go after a goaltender in the short term. The Oilers have been improving quite a bit, so it kind of closes the door for them too, but then again, you still have to consider the fact that they might have to continue looking. Depends on who you ask. And then there are some other teams tossed in there that could be in the mix even further. If the Carolina Hurricanes decide they want to get this pedal to the metal going, then maybe they could be a trade candidate for some of these goaltending options. Whether that be a Vejmelka from Arizona, a James Reimer from Detroit, a Jake Allen from Montreal, or a Spencer Martin from Columbus. If you're a fan of any of these teams, what are your thoughts on your goaltending situation? Is David Rittich an okay backup for the meantime while this entire Phoenix Copley MRI situation sorts itself out? If you're an LA Kings fan, what are your thoughts on the Cam Talbot performance so far? What are your thoughts on his sustainability as a potential number 1 backup into the playoffs? You guys are going to make the playoffs. I don't have any doubts about that. They're pretty good. The LA Kings are. So, in regards to your backup situation, what do you think is appropriate there? Would you go after a guy like Primo or a guy like Allen or a guy like James Reimer, for crying out loud? It would be really interesting to see Reimer on the LA Kings after Bernier had his stint there too. I don't know, maybe that's just my Leafs-infected knowledge going out there and creeping in. But Oilers fans as well, let me know your thoughts in the comments. How do you feel about your goaltending tandem? And do you think a trade for a goaltender is going to happen within the next 3 or 4 months? Is this actually possible? Actually 3 or 4 months. Yeah, and then the trade deadline's in March, right? So 3 months exactly. What are your thoughts on the Pickard and Stewart tandem? If nothing goes wrong, then you just roll with it, right? But how far and how projectable is that strategy going to take you? So if you're a fan of the Edmonton Oilers, let me know your thoughts in the comments about any of these other goaltenders. Do you need a Vejmelka? Do you need an Allen? Do you need a James Reimer? Fans of the Wings, fans of the Canadiens, fans of every other team that we had talked about, if your guys do get sent away, what is the trade price? If Jake Allen gets sent off, what do the Canadiens get in return? What do the Wings get in return for James Reimer? Do you even think about trading away Reimer? Alex Lyon just had a little bit of a scare last night, so is that all of a sudden a concern on your mind? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this entire goaltending trade update. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.